Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
As bells toll from New York City to mid-Missouri, a country remembers.
On 9/11, it was a Tuesday. Is any other day like normal?
The thousands of lives lost 22 years after 4 planes crashed in a devastating attack.
I had been a paramedic and a firefighter for a long time prior to that. I'd just never seen that much death in one spot.
Good afternoon to you all. On September 11th, I'm Evie Allen.
And I'm Emily Spain. Thanks so much for joining us today. Mid-Missouri held 2 ceremonies today to remember those who died on 9/11. Campbell Bates' Allison Smith is here to show us how Columbia paid tribute. Allison?
Dozens of people took part in remembering where they were during the 9/11 attacks. And today, they shared their stories with us. It's a day of remembrance.
On 9/11, it was a Tuesday. Is any other day like normal?
I was a student at the University of Missouri on that day. I was getting ready to go to my Tuesday morning class.
And I heard on the radio as I was driving to the dry cleaners about this attack, a plane crash.
We heard word of a first plane hitting the tower, and we were watching TV when we saw the second plane hit. And then we knew immediately that we'd be going to work.
And many gathered in Columbia to share their story.
So everything stopped. We stopped working. We just started listening to the radio, watching TV until the first tower came down, and then the second tower came down.
I had been a paramedic and a firefighter for a long time prior to that. I'd just never seen that much death in one spot.
A lot of apprehension. You know, we didn't know what we were going to be getting into, but we knew that it was going to be a challenge.
It was really a surprise that something like this had happened to the United States, because we thought we were kind of untouchable.
Everyone's experience was different on 9/11, but today they all shared one thing in common: to remember.
We're remembering.
Remember, to make sure that we don't forget.
Just a remembrance of what we have.
Where we remember and not forget.
The commemoration also honors everyday people, just like the folks on Flight 93 who fought to make sure their hijacked plane did not crash into the nation's capital.
Flight 93 is a perfect example of that. That wasn't Army Rangers, that wasn't Marines, that wasn't Navy SEALs. That was common people, just like you see on the street right now. People that were teachers, students, lawyers, engineers.
The group was deployed to New York after the attacks, and today there's one feeling that outweighs the others.
The biggest emotion that I have is pride. You know, pride in what the men and women of Missouri Task Force 1 stepping up and putting it together. It wasn't about me, it wasn't about them, it was about this nation in its need. They didn't disappoint. They did their jobs at 200%. And they'll go again.
Officials say they will always come together and take pride in this day. In the studio, Allison Smith, KOMU 8 News.
Okay, thank you, Allison. In Jefferson City, the Tunnel to Towers organization had their own way of remembering the lives lost. At 5 fire stations across the city, you can see yard signs to remember the first responders who died. Fire crews took time out of their day to set out dozens of signs. The signs will be on display until Saturday.
The largest ceremony held in remembrance of the attacks took place in New York City. At Ground Zero, many who never met their relatives paused and remembered. Tearful words and appeals to teach younger generations about the terror attack filled the silence. All of this unfolding in front of mayors, governors, the vice president, and other dignitaries. Meanwhile, in D.C., a massive flag was lowered off the side of the Pentagon. At the ceremony, each victim's name was read, and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin honored their memory.